We're live at Suzilla.
Hi, Suzie and Matt here. Suzilla, Suzie Solutions, all those good things. And we're here talking about, what's our topic today, Matt?
We're talking about promoting yourself and promoting your business.
I kind of figured that was the direction you were going to go.
Well, it's because I got a big old monstrous jar of candy on our desk here.
And it is big old monstrous. It's what, 2 gallons, give or take?
Something like that. We took a big old horchata jug.
Yeah, it was vitoleros is what they're called.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, look at me. Actually, I'm probably not pronouncing that properly. It's more like vitolero.
Okay.
Either way, it's a big jug that if you are getting like a horchata or what's the other drinks you can get? You know, the
I just know if there's a horchata jug because of what does it taste like? It tastes like drinking the milk from your cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah. But we've got a big jug of it. A big jug, and it's full of candy.
And because we're doing a promotion, we also got a special above 21 secret gift in there.
So you have to be 21 if you want to enter. If you do, Matt's going to put a link in.
Or if you go to the Suzie Health Solutions Facebook page, there are tons of entry forms there.
Yes.
We make it as easy as possible for people to interact.
Agua frescas. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Agua frescas.
And it's one of those things that's really interesting because I was like looking at it and it's like, we've got 2 different styles. We're not going to tell you which one of us is introverted and which one's extroverted because we definitely are. We definitely have that. That is absolutely the truth. We will wait for the end for that big reveal.
Although he might disagree.
We will see.
We will see. A lot of it is just moving on.
Okay, but there's different ways that you can do things to promote yourself and, promote your business. Because I was like thinking about it, it's like, we didn't really have people promoting us when we were kids. It goes all the way back to there. Think about on how you were treated in high school.
Okay.
Did your parents say, hey, go this way or do that thing, or you did great at this?
Not frequently. They were dealing with their own stuff, and I was a pretty independent kid, so I was left to deal with my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. And me, we recollected over, our guidance counselors the other day, and I was like, yeah, my guidance counselor was kind of hands-free because he was terrified of me.
Oh, there you go.
And
I don't even remember meeting with my guidance counselor.
Yeah.
I knew who they were. I think we had, hi, nice to meet you, but we never had a what's your future look like meeting.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because isn't that what they're supposed to do?
That is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to say, hey, you know what, you really good put in your college applications. But
to be fair, I was a pretty invisible kid.
Exactly. You had no one out there shining a light on you and say, hey, look at this wonderful person.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. And when you're a teenager, it's nice to have an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a parent, and be an advocate for your kids.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those ones, have them, do sports and bring the orange slices. Do things like that.
Be part of their lives.
Be part of their lives.
And they're going to go, Mom, Dad. But do it anyway.
Yeah, they'll hate you for 20 years at least. But that's part of being a parent.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to love on your grandkids.
And yes, we do understand that sometimes it's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
Do your best.
Absolutely.
Is my advice to you.
Yeah, because single parent household, so mine was a disaster. But that kind of boiled off into our adult careers.
A little bit,
when we were working for other people.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I had a couple times, very infrequently, of people, above me as a boss going to bat for me.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, Steve Brown, recognized that, oh my gosh, this kid can sit there and do anything. Let's promote him up through project management.
Oh, there you go.
Staff Sergeant Noah, did the same thing. It's like, yeah, I want him for my driver because he pays attention.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I did have an experience like that.
They weren't Were they frequent or were they really infrequent?
Experiences like that were
Yeah.
infrequent, but I was going up through the retail world.
Mm-hmm.
There is very little potential for mentorship in that
Mhm.
situation. I guess I had two situations: one that worked and one that didn't. I had a manager, a department manager, who tried to see if I was going to be any good as in management. Turns out I sucked at it.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried. It just wasn't the right fit for me.
Okay.
I kind of didn't recognize what was happening at the time, which was part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't very good at communicating what the plan was. And that's just a matter of...
Well, it was alien to you. So
it was alien, so I was like...
what's this person doing nice things for me?
Well, he wasn't necessarily doing nice things for me. He was just testing me out, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it was, in retrospect, yeah, he was just trying to see if I could, improve my lot in life.
Yeah.
On the same token... the one that did work was from a pharmacist named Kent, and I had been working out in the main store, working in the department, doing a pretty good job at it, getting really tired of it because it's retail, sucks.
Yeah.
And he grabbed me one day and said, "Hey, I've got an opening as a pharmacy assistant. Do you want to please apply for this?"
Mm-hmm. Oh, he said, "Please."
Yes,
that's
he
a
said,
good
apply
sign.
for this, and so he basically threw me right in the job, and from there I started my pharmacy career.
Yeah.
Part of it's because I was always nice to them, responsible in making sure when I borrowed anything that they had these scanners that we could borrow, and I always made sure I got it back to them in a timely manner. And part of it is because I cultivated the friendships and the relationships outside of my tight little zone.
Okay.
I would eat lunch in the break room.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Makes a difference. So that's my story.
Yeah, but that's kind of our good middle ground of us coming through, and now when we had our we started out our own business.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't forget RJ and how he,
Oh, RJ, yeah, he was tremendous, but that was he was able to do the, hey, this guy would make a good producer. I had a district manager that completely failed and didn't do any sort of promotion.
Giant disaster.
And RJ's like, yeah, let's grab this kid and see what he can do.
And that's how your insurance career really took off.
Yeah. But it was changing at that point.
Yeah.
It was really changing, and I really think the change happened, and I'm going to blame Treetop.
Yeah, okay.
Because there was a point at Treetop where I was doing all the right things, going along, and there was a position for the shift management.
Yes, I remember that.
And I had massive amounts of project management experience doing other things. Did a whole bunch of continuous improvements. Nailed it.
Honestly, probably alienated you from them.
Yeah, I think I was one of the few people that could completely run one line from front to back, including the labs, and then almost completely on the other side too.
Oh yeah, you knew how that department ran inside and out.
And so I applied for this little, lower level management position, and the manager of the plant said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to hire you for this one. You're welcome to apply elsewhere in the company." And that was the point where it's like, oh, I ain't going anywhere from you. Rah, rah, rah. Let's get out of here.
And the timing was right for that to happen. So we made it work. But that's but we're back. We need to go back to self-promoting.
Yeah.
And yes, it is wonderful when there are people who help you and promote you in a positive manner. Sometimes you have to do it yourself.
Yeah. And that's, that's what we're going to talk about with this great big jar of candy.
Well, here's the thing. We're a small business. We do not have a giant corporation behind us, paying for, tens of thousands of dollars worth of advertising.
Oh, yeah.
No, we are us. We're just our little Matt and Suzie in Suzie Health Solutions, and we ain't rich.
Nope.
We're we're making it. We're paying the bills. Once in a while, we can take ourselves out to dinner. But we have to come up with ways to promote our business so people know who we are, where we are, and what we do. And we have to get creative to do it. And sometimes do it on the cheap.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's okay.
That's okay. A good example is our cars.
Yeah.
There's a number that will do let's wrap our whole car and spend a couple grand. Well, we don't have a couple grand. So what we did was we went out and we got cars that were black.
Yep.
And put on vinyl.
And they look great. And we support a local business by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good way of doing something cheap. It's like, yeah, you get the big full vinyl wraps if you can, afford that. Woohoo! We'll go with the vinyl on a classic black background and look good. It'd look good on white if we reversed it too.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it didn't matter what color the car is; it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we did this was our rig was silver, so.
Yeah, but it didn't look so good, and it only lasted about a year.
Well, the car lasted about a year. The vinyl outlasted the car.
The vinyl did outlast the car. I think it held it together for a certain point.
Yeah. It was kind of point A to point B for a couple 3 years.
Yeah, the cheapest way to get a used car, drive it into the ground.
Yeah, that's what we did. It worked too.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, we upgraded, and all is better now because we have better, more reliable cars.
Mm-hmm. But
that's beside the point.
Yeah, it's always you're gonna run into obstacles.
Yes, absolutely. Every time, because it's the way of nature.
Mm-hmm. And it's how many times you pick yourself up and keep going.
Yeah, it's when you don't pick yourself up, that's when you fail.
Yeah,
because falling down is not failure.
No, I was thinking about some of the things you did as interpersonal. It was like you bought. You were known for a long time for your baking skills, and the person who brought the pie.
Yeah. Well, if I was still in a situation where I was dealing with an office full of people, yeah, I'd still be bringing pie.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I still make pie, and I like pie. And we talked about pie a lot this morning for some reason.
It's pie season.
It's pie season. That's absolutely true. And yeah, we're thinking about.
And you're gonna if you're on the internet and you're local, you're probably gonna see us as describing what we do is easy as pie.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. Is you make these simple little connections. Mm-hmm. Someone walks into this great oven. We mix a few ingredients together, and they come out walking with a finished good. They don't have to do anything. And we make it as easy as possible.
As easy as pie, which pie is actually quite easy to make. If you've ever tried to make one, it's not so difficult, especially if you aren't any good at the crust and you just go buy a Pillsbury crust, which is perfectly okay.
But it's different.
It's different, but not bad.
So yeah, there are, and then you can get down some really strange rabbit holes when you're promoting.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
There are some wonderful ones. One of the strangest ones that we started. We've been doing Facebook videos for years.
Yes.
Even on our first accounts.
Yes.
And they got taken.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. We had a giant. Oh my God, that was somebody anti-promoting us, basically.
Anti-promoting, erase you from the internet.
Yes, yeah, that worked.
Yeah, it didn't work for them.
No.
We will tease them every time we see them for the rest of their lives. But that eventually led, last year in 2020, we said, hey, let's do one of these podcast things and talk about what we're doing and sharing with more people
and who we are and who we are
and how to keep going.
Yeah, and maybe lend some thoughts to the way you maybe give you some ideas about how to do things.
Mm-hmm. Because it's. You've got to connect and make those things for other people, because there's often, in our cases, we weren't that privileged to have people saying, oh, hey, you need to go over here, you need to do this, or you need to talk to this person that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Usually it's been the opposite.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, and that's what most people don't understand. It's never, small business is not easy.
No, it's really not, but it's so worth it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a gal in here just yesterday who just recently started a small business.
Oh, yes.
She had been working for the man for 15, 16 years.
Something like that.
And was standing there 8 hours a day going, God, I hate this. What else can I do? And finally pinged on what she's going to do. And she's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's thrilled. She is so happy. She's so much happier than she was.
Yes.
And that's the important thing. We've talked about before how this is, the great resignation. People are quitting their jobs and starting fresh in one way or another.
Yeah, we've been talking about that since April.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. What I think is happening, and we've talked about this, is people are not settling for a crap job because they need the money or the benefits. They're pursuing their dreams. They're looking for jobs that are satisfying, offer them things that their previous jobs were not offering. They're not gonna be a slave wage anymore.
Correct. And
wage slave. They're not gonna do that anymore.
And it's important for you as to create this kind of culture around you of promoting.
Exactly.
One of the things I've got is the Wenatchee local businesses and services.
Right.
And since we can't divulge, this is our customer, this is who we help. I can tell you that one of the businesses that has appeared on that page a couple times has been the person that Suzie talked about. And it's one of the ways that we can promote without saying, blah, 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 this person has worked with us.
Yes.
The only way that we can really, advocate that is because of our confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those important weird things, because we're in insurance and we have to maintain some confidentiality.
A lot of confidentiality.
A lot of confidentiality. It's the way we able to, kind of do that with permission is if someone gives us a review.
Yeah, if you want to give us a review, see, that's another version of self-promotion.
And we actually asked for it because it's one of those things. It's like, if you can do a video, say, hey, these guys are awesome, go see them. Mm-hmm. It's one of the few ways that someone can, connect themselves with us.
Right. Because we can't say, hey, we helped, John Smith get their health insurance. But John Smith could say, hey, I went to Suzie Health Solutions and they helped me get my health insurance. Because he can reveal all he wants to know, all he wants about himself. We can't. And we're not going to.
Yeah, and it's one of those difficult things. I got Tulin on the board. Good morning. And it's one of those things that it takes a lot of work. And insurance, we've got rules.
Yes.
I talked briefly with one of the clients that came in the other day about Medicare, and said, "Hey, there are some serious rules with Medicare. For example, I can't hand you that business card for Medicare, but you can pick it up."
That's correct. It's a weird one.
I think I've got to dig out that video. I actually made a video the other day on the different little Medicare weirdness.
Yeah, they do. The theory behind some of these Medicare rules is protecting what's considered a vulnerable population.
Yes, and at the same time, there's an assumption by the public. It's like, oh, well, why don't you call my Aunt Frida about and talk to her about Medicare? It's like, we can't do that because it's unsolicited phone call.
But Aunt Frida can call us,
yes,
and you can ask Aunt Frida to call us. You can give Aunt Frida our card, and that's okay. I can't give Aunt Frida my card.
Yep, and
I can't ask you for a direct referral. It's just one of those things.
Yeah,
and that's like I said, the theory behind that is protecting what's considered a vulnerable population. Let's be realistic. Some senator's grandma got ripped off, and that's where a lot of this
probably.
Yeah.
But there are those rules of conventions on how you promote yourself.
Yes, and that's not a bad thing, because otherwise you got people lying up one side and down the other in an effort to promote.
Well, it's not about lying.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is. You create social conventions on how communication is done.
Okay.
And if you're not aware of those rules, you feel you're snubbed.
Okay, I can see where you're going with that.
Medicare is a good example. I actually ran into one couple months ago on Reddit.
Okay.
I started, interacting with a couple Reddit threads. And because we are one of 11 enrollment centers in the state of Washington, we actually, we do a lot of promotions and talk about stuff.
Yes.
I got hit with a ban hammer because it was self-promotion. And it's like, okay, I'm like one of 11 actual resource and self-promotion. It's like, okay, that's the wacky, wonderful world of the internet. People make their own rules.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can get where they're coming from, especially if it was a social situation. They're trying to keep out, the high pressure sales folk.
Yeah, it was a financial room, and we were talking about the long-term care in Washington State.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, so you just said, "Hey, this is who I am," and instead of just having the conversation, they interpreted you as selling.
Yes.
Well, so that's their prerogative.
Yeah, it is their prerogative because they run the show, and it's just like, okay,
it's not censorship, just so you know, but it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it was the social norms, and me being the dummy that I was, I didn't read the room when I walked in.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. And it's harder to do when you're on the internet because you haven't got the facial and the body cues.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't, maybe I had to get a little bit more shark skin suit on than I usually do. Perhaps. It
depends on what time of day it is. If you're getting tired, you get sharky.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah,
and snark.
But yeah, we wanted to do some outreach this year and some promotions that were different because we got tired of the four walls of COVID.
Yeah,
and keeping people safe. So we actually shut down. I want to say it was at least half a dozen events last year.
Yeah, something like that.
And we're about the same this year.
Well, we haven't even planned any this year. To speak of.
About the only one we're probably going to do is because usually no one shows up.
Oh, the Black Friday event.
Black Friday!
And the thing is, with the Black Friday event is, A, we're here at 4 a.m., B, Black Friday shopping has petered out quite a bit over the last 5 years.
In our area. However, the goofiness of the Black Friday thing is we can actually say we're the only enrollment center open in the state of Washington sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
So that little promotion gives us hooks that we're able to use throughout the year. If someone shows up, woohoo, we treat them. We're busy. We decorate the office at that time.
We get our Christmas stuff up.
We have a little bit of fun. Suzie goes out and gets donuts.
Yes, from our local glazed bakery because they're awesome.
We will talk about that this year because we've got a closer bakery.
That's true.
We do have a closer bakery, so it's going to really depend on what bakery is open that
earlier. We're going to see because Glaze opens at 4:30. I don't know what time their competitor opens.
This is true, and this is one of those things. And we're probably also going to roll into there and do the. We'll be doing a cute pet promo. It's gonna be good fun if you got a pet. It's a way to throw a picture up and share with other people the month of November. November. But yeah, there are ways to chain promos into promos into promos.
Exactly, and Matt's been working really hard on that. And his project management skills are incredibly valuable with this kind of stuff, to be honest. One of the problems I personally run into, and this kind of goes back to where we first started with this, is I'm not good at self-promotion. I'm good at promoting other people. I don't like to toot my own horn, as it were. And that's me being...
You're claiming the introverted?
Introverted, yeah.
Which is funny because there are times where I get my little extroverted thing roll out, but I am usually relatively shy.
Oh, you kidding? You realize how shy I actually am? You've known me for how long, and you don't realize how terrified I am every time I even do this?
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you find your stride in picking out items with branded material.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Where I will go out and you actually, when you get going at an event, you are more talkative than I am.
Yes, and that takes a lot of psychological prep to do.
But you do that wonderfully, and that's what I'm saying is yes, you're introverted. Yes, we play back and forth from each other,
and we do, and that's one of the things that makes it work well for us is because although we both have introverted styles in our personalities, we can play off each other and bring each other out. Yeah,
because I'm more the extrovert of the thing because I am one of those foolhardy people that stumble ahead.
That's true. That's a very good way to put it.
It's this kind of fearless approach to try new things. Mm-hmm. That makes me a little bit more extroverted.
Which is terrifying to me, but I go along.
You go along for the ride. Sometimes she's screaming from the passenger seat.
He pushes my boundaries, and I let him.
Yeah.
But he also knows where my boundaries are. Mm-hmm. And see, that's why we make a good couple. We know where each other's boundaries are. Mm-hmm. And although we might come up to him and push him a little bit, we're not going to break him without permission. Mm-hmm. See, that's the kind of partner everyone needs.
Well, yeah, you need to play back and forth. You need to make it safe for people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I do a lot of. I'm the guy at the front door.
He is. He doesn't have to be.
So
it's so funny because when we set up this office, I figured I would be up here. Yeah. But he said, no, you need to be back there.
Yeah.
Which was weird.
But it was empowering at the same time.
I guess so.
And when someone comes in, it's like, oh, no, you got to go to the big office to talk to Suzie.
Yeah, he loves to say that.
But there's a certain, I'm the gatekeeper with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And, that was empowering when the person came in. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, it's like, oh, Matt's the secretary.
Yeah.
And I laughed. It's like, yes, I'm just a secretary.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because when I pick up the phone, it's often I'm assumed to just be a secretary.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're called Suzie Health Solutions. My name is Suzie. This is my business.
But there's a certain level of those unwritten social rules.
Yeah. And we're making progress with that as a society to not assume that the woman in the office is support staff, but it's still deep. It's deep. It's going to take a long time to fill in that crap.
Well, those, when you're doing promotions, you are crossing those boundaries, those unspoken boundaries, and to do it successful, you're making relationships and you're building friendships and you're building customers.
Yes.
And that's really important to know. And that's, if we all stayed in our little boundaries, it's kind of miserable.
Oh, well, yeah, we all learned that during COVID.
But I was trying to think. It's like,
see, but your most introverted people perfectly comfortable with what happened with COVID. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, I'll stay home, no problem.
Yeah, and more power to them. But there's still a point. It's like if you maintained a completely sheltered life, unless you've got a couple loved ones out there that are promoting you, it gets kind of cold quickly.
It gets lonely.
Yeah,
and then that's where you end up with, you could end up with with what is that? What is it?
Agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia. Yeah, and you could end up trapped without meaning to be.
Yeah, I had a relative that had that.
Yeah,
wonderful painter. Lived with mom and dad. But she
couldn't.
She couldn't. But there's a point when mom and dad aren't there.
Yeah.
And what do you do? And that's why you got to work on promotions and crossing boundaries. If you're not doing it for yourself, help other people around you do it.
It's not a bad thing to push yourself. It's not bad to self-promote.
Correct.
It's like I was saying earlier, it's always difficult for me to quote toot my own horn because, as an American woman in their middle age, I was taught that you don't put yourself first. I was taught that when you're speaking a sentence and you're talking about somebody else and you and somebody else in a sentence, you always put yourself second.
Yeah.
And, Joe and I went to the store. Always put yourself second in the sentence. And that was how that rule permeated my training as a human being.
Well, mine as a kid really could be summed up as when I went over to some of my aunt's places, as the children are to be seen and not heard.
Yep, there's another example. and we're hoping that the generations that have come after us aren't being restricted by some of these rules.
Yeah. Well, we will see.
We'll see.
We're
hoping. We're doing our best with our own kids.
Okay, well, we're going to go. We got people who are showing up early, so bye-bye for now, and have a good day.
Bye.